Hello everyone, Gaza Mutkarsh, and I welcome you all to this session on visualization and reporting. So guys, let's have a look at the agenda for this session. The agenda for this session includes, let's say, implementing different Matplotlib charts. So in this session, we'll be understanding, let's say, how to visualize data using Matplotlib. Essentially, we'll be concentrating on charts like bar chart, pie chart, line chart, scatter chart, and we do have a couple of other charts to explore as well, such as histogram, box plot, etc. So guys, till the previous session, we have discussed over repeatable workflows. We have discussed automating file input, output, batch operations, and even looped tasks. So guys, let's switch to the Jupyter screen. So guys, over here we are in the Jupyter screen. So to work with Matplotlib charts, right? First of all, we need to import NumPy pandas, and then we'll be importing the Matplotlib as well. So I'm importing pandas as PD. Then I'm importing NumPy as NP. I'm also importing matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. So matplotlib and cbon, they are libraries for visualization. Pyplot is the module, right? Pyplot is the module. Matplotlib is the library. So pandas, we are all familiar that it is meant for data pre-processing. And NumPy we are using for, let's say, mathematical operations. All right, and pyplot is what we're using for the matplotlib.pyplot is what we'll be using for the visualization. So first, let's generate some synthetic data. And this is the data that we'll be working upon. So I'm creating data. Data would be pd.dataframe. All right, and maybe I can pass some dates. So dates would be pd.date range. Let's say the start that I'm considering is 2025 0101, and the periods that I'm passing is maybe suppose it's going to be, let's say, 100 or maybe 120 days, right? The period says 120 days, and the frequency that I'm considering over here is 1 day. Even if I don't pass the frequency, it would be 1 day. So let's print the dates first. Okay, this would be periods. Yeah, so now we have the dates, right? We do have the dates. Now what can be done? So let's consider the number of rows that we have is 120. All right, so now the first column would be date would essentially be these dates. Then next it would be maybe region. So region I can pass, it can be, let's say, Delhi, Kolkata, Noida, Mumbai. All right, these are the different regions. And next maybe over here I can pass, let's say, Chennai as well. All right, these are the different regions. So for the regions, I'll be creating np.random.choice. np.random.choice. These are the different regions, and the size would be, let's say, the number of rows. All right, then I need to create sales. This function would wrap up over here, and this is not required. So one of the feature is region. Next I can pass sales. So again, this would be np.random.normal. Let's say the sales would vary between somewhere between maybe 300 to, and let's say the size would be number of rows. The size that I'm passing is number of rows. So based on 500, maybe the standard deviation that I'm setting over here is 50. All right, so this would be the sales. Means instead of all right, let's go for np.random integer, and this random integer, let's say, would range between, over here I'm passing list range 500. All right, 500 to maybe 5000. All right, and what would be the size? The size would be number of rows. Then over here I need to see the profit. So profit would be np.random.normal, and over here maybe I can mention this would somewhere be, let's say 15, and let's say the scale would be maybe 5, all right, or 4.5, and the size would be the number of rows. Now besides this I can also mention the region and the product. So product would be np.random.choice, and the choices are A, B, C. These are the 3 products, or maybe P1, P2, P3. Alright, these are the 3 products, and the size that I'm having is number of rows. So these are the 5 columns of data that we have, and then I can convert this to data frame. So pd.data frame, and then I can pass data. So dates is done, then we have regions, then we have product, then we have sales, and then we have profit. Let's see. Okay, so this is not closed. This is where, let's say, the region is completed, then the product, and then the sales. Okay, so we have another bracket over here. Okay, let me check. There is some syntax error. So dates, and then region, then product, sales, and then profit. Okay, this would np.random. Shape mismatch. Alright, so there's a shape mismatch. Let's check. So for this dictionary, let's check the shape. So over here I'm printing data, then okay, data frame is already generated, right? I've already generated this data frame, so this is df. Let's call this df. So I'm getting value error. So as of now, let's keep this. So just data. This is the dictionary, right? So as of now, this is my data. Now for this data, I want to print what is data length of data dates or date. Where are we getting this error? Okay, we are getting the error in sales, right? So list range 500 to 5000. Okay, random. Okay, I have to pass the lower and the upper limit, right? So this is 500 to 5000. This is where it went wrong. Yeah, and now if I check, this is 120. So now essentially we should be in a position to create the data frame. So this is pd.data frame, and in this data frame I'll be passing this data. So guys, we do have this data, right? Now this data is available. Now based on this data, let's say first of all I want to create a bar chart. So what is the purpose of bar chart? Bar chart, let's say, is used to compare, let's say, continuous values across different categories. All right, this is why we use the bar chart. So suppose I have a question, represent maybe region wise sales, region wise sum of sales on bar chart. All right, this is my problem statement. I want to represent region wise sum of sales on the bar chart. So how do I represent it? So first of all, I need to find region wise sum of sales. So this data frame that we have over here, let's see the shape. The shape is 120. Now if we observe the data types, so the data types are date as in date time already. So now I want region wise sum of sales. So region wise sum of sales, I can simply write it like this. Let's consider a variable called a1. This would be df.group by, and in the group by over here I'm passing region wise and sales dot sum. All right, so this essentially returns a series, right? So this is the region wise sum of sales. Now I want to represent this on a bar chart. So how can this be done? Over here I'll be writing plt.bar, and then I can mention, so this a1 that you see over here, right? This a1 dot index would be the regions, and a1 dot values would be the values that we have over here. So in the bar, essentially we have to pass x and y, the data to be represented on x and the data to be represented on y. So I can mention like this: plt.bar a.index, a1.index, and a1.values. And then I can write plt.show to hide some unnecessary information. So guys, as we can see, this bar chart is created. So this is the first step towards visualization. So on the x-axis, we do get to see different cities, and on the y-axis, or different regions, and on the y-axis, we have sum of sales. Now let's try to add couple of functionalities. So what is the name of the x-axis? So I can write it using the x label function. So x-axis would be called as region. What would we like to call the y-axis? On the y-axis, we are representing sum of sales, right? So y-axis is sum of sales. So guys, on the x-axis we have region, on the y-axis we have sum of sales. Next, plt.title. In the title over here we can mention region wise sum of sales. This is what we are mentioning as the title. Now if need be, I can change the color. Alright, I can change the size. All these things can be customized. Now currently the bars are blue in color. If you want to change the color, I can change them as well. So maybe I want to represent them as, let's select as light green. So guys, now these colors are represented in light green. If you want edge color, so maybe I can define the edge color as black, as in the border color. So guys, clearly we have displayed the border color as black as well. Now what else is required? What is the green color representing? I can add a label. So label is sum of sales. Now label is only displayed when I write the function called legend. So see, this is representing the sum of sales. Alright, so guys, this is how we can create a bar chart. So each of these bars are representing the sum of sales. And what are the sales values that we have? These are the different sales value that we have seen. Now, because there is no space on the top, so let's adjust the space on the top. So this is up to 70,000. So maybe I can add plt.ylimit. Ylimit would extend the y-axis. So currently this is from 0, 10,000, 20,000. So this would be 0 to maybe 90,000. Alright, now see, this is how, this is now I can clearly see the sum of sales as the legend. So guys, these are the different functionalities using which you can create bar chart. If you want to adjust the figure size, then I can mention plt.figure.fig size. The figure size that I'm going to pass over here is, I need to pass it in terms of width and height. So width I'm considering as maybe 8, and the height that I'm considering is 5. So see, this is width 8, height 5. Let's reduce this. So maybe this is sufficient as well. So now the width is 6, the height is 3. So maybe we can set this as 7 and 4. So width is 7 and the height that we have over here is 4. Much better. Alright, so in case let's say the values do tend to get overlapped, this is what we can use. Now besides this, what else I can mention? The way I've mentioned y limit, likewise I can also go for x limit, but currently it's not required. Now besides this, there are a couple of other functionalities that can be added. Let's say if I want to display the grid lines, so I can display the grid lines like this. So these would be the background lines, but not always needed, but at times it may be needed. Alright, and besides this, what else can we add? So this is region wise sum of sales, and on the x-axis we are representing the region. These are the different bars. Yes, so pretty much we have covered majority of functionalities: bar, x label, y label. Yeah, we can rotate these values if need be. We can rotate the values just to adjust the space. So for rotation, I can mention plt.xtext, and then rotation would be, let's say, 90 degree. So this is how the cities would look like. Alright, this is how the cities would look like. Currently I'm setting this to 60 degree. So what we have represented right now is simple, let's say, bar chart. Now these are vertical bars. If you want to go for horizontal bars, even that can be done. We can go for horizontal bars as well. So for horizontal bar chart, what all things do we need? Let's see. Let's copy this entire code. Now the only change would be, instead of bar, I need to write bar h. That's the only change. So if I'm passing bar h, let's get rid of this. Y limit, I have to avoid this. X checks, currently I'm avoiding. Let's see. So now we do get to see the bars, right? So now instead of Y limit, I think I should go for X limit. And this is done. Now the width is, and height maybe I'm setting as 5. I have to increase the width, but I also have to increase the height now. This is X label. Now Y label is region and X label is sum of sales. The rest of the things are done. See, this is how it looks. Alright, so this is how it looks like. So this is horizontal bar chart. So guys, now we have seen the bar chart. Now moving forward, let's proceed to the line chart. Alright, so maybe in the line chart, this is question 2. Represent month-wise sum of sales. So pretty much the functionality would be same. The remaining functionalities would be same. Remaining functionalities include the, let's say, Y label, X label, title, legend, X limit, Y limit, X text, and show, and even the figure size. These functionalities would remain constant irrespective of the chart that we are using. So next is line chart. Why do we use line chart? Let's understand this. Line chart is used to represent the trend lines. Means especially used often with time based data. Alright, it is meant to be used for time based data when time is considered. So just read the question that we have. Now I want to represent month-wise sum of sales. So we don't have month, right? So let's derive the month. So df month would be df date dot dt dot month. And I can also display month, and maybe I can display the month name. So now we have the month name as well. So guys, we do have the month and the month name. So over here I need to find month-wise sum of sales, right? So that's simple. So I'll be writing A2. A2 would be df dot group by, and then month-wise sales dot sum. A2. So guys, we do have data only for the 4 months. We only have data for 4 months, and these are the different values, right? So instead of month, I can also consider month name. Both are absolutely fine. Currently, I'm considering the month. So this is the data. How do I represent it on the line chart? So plt dot plot. On the x-axis, I want to write a2 dot index. On the y-axis, I want to write a2 dot values. And then plt dot show. So this is the bare minimum thing that can be done. And clearly, we can see the line chart. Alright, now what would be X label? The X label that we have over here is, these are the months. What do we have as the Y label? On the Y label, we have sum of sales. And over here, maybe the color is orange. I'm setting a marker. The marker is star, that would highlight the regions where I can set the marker size as maybe 80. I'm setting the marker size, right? Okay, that's too big. Maybe 20 would be sufficient, or let's say 15. All right, so this is what I've set. These are the data points. Now, what would be the title? I've mentioned X label and Y label. I have to mention the title. Title is month-wise sum of sales. All right, over here I've mentioned month-wise sum of sales. So if you observe this, this is how the month-wise sum of sales looks like. All right, so this is sum of sales. Now, what else can be added? I can also change the line style. Line style could be, let's say, dotted. This is line style, dotted. Now, in this chart, I've represented month-wise sum of sales. I can also go for the profit. But because the profit is not in the same range, the sum of sales is in thousands, but the profit that we see over here is in 2 digits, right? So they won't line up. They won't line up. All right, instead of let's say sum, what if I go with mean? So this is the mean, right? So if I want to represent mean, so now these are the values. These are the mean values, right? So instead of maybe sum, I can represent mean sales. So this is month-wise mean of sales. All right, so guys, this is how we can utilize the line chart. Remaining all the functionalities are same. Now instead of maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, I want to give month names. So if that is required, so I can give plt.xtext, and in xtext over here I'm passing a2.index, and a2.index I wish to replace with Jan, then Feb, and then March, and then April. These are the 4 months that we have. So guys, if you observe, the values are changed on the x-axis. So this can be used, xtext can also be used to set alias names. All right, so this is what we have observed over here. Now besides this, we can club the bar and the line chart together. So whatever we have passed over here, I can also create a bar chart. All right, so now instead of this color, I'll be going with black. The bars would be maybe light blue. All right, no marker is needed, no marker style is needed, no line style is needed. That's it. So this would represent the bar chart. So guys, if you observe this, so this is what month-wise mean of sales looks like, and this is the line chart on top of superimposed on the bar chart. So even this can be clubbed. Next, we can represent, let's say, pie chart. So why do we use pie chart? Pie chart is used to represent the percentage contribution. All right, I want to display the overall percentage contribution. This is where, let's say, pie chart is used. So I want to see for how many regions the data is available. So maybe the third question is find, let's say, region wise count and percentage of different regions. How many total regions, how many records are there for each region? So I can simply say df.region.value counts. Now the result obtained over here is a series, right? So these are the different values that we have. Now to find its percentage contribution, this is where we can utilize pie chart. So all I need to write is, we know that A3, this is the key, the city names are the keys, and these numbers are the values. So how do I define the pie chart? plt.pie. On the x means we don't have x and y axis, but on the x, as in I need to mention the values for which the percentage is computed. So this would be a3.values, and then I can mention the index. So over here I can mention labels is equal to a3.index, right? a3.index. So once this is done, a3.values labels is a3.index, and then I can simply say plt.show. All right, and then the title would be percentage of different regions. So guys, if you observe, this is the pie chart created. So we can see, we can observe the different regions that we have, right? But pie chart makes no sense if we don't pass the percentage values. So to represent the percentage over here, I have to mention auto PCT. In the auto PCT, I have to mention like this, 0.2f. 0.2f means after decimal 2 digits should be displayed. Okay, I've mentioned this in the title. This should be in the pie chart. Yeah, this should be over here, and now it will be displayed. So guys, as we can see the percentage of different regions, I can observe over here. All right, next let's see how to create maybe scatter chart. Scatter chart, why do we use scatter chart? It is used to represent correlation or covariance between two continuous variables. So between two continuous variables, it represents the covariance or the correlation. So how do we represent them? how to plot this. So suppose I'm considering sales and profit, right? So if I use plt dot scatter, on the x-axis I'm passing sales, on the y-axis I'm passing profit. So overall, what is the relation between sales and profit? We can observe this plt dot x label. Over here I'll be representing sales, and plt dot y label, over here I'll be representing the profit. And title would be, let's say, sales versus profit, and plt dot show. So as of now the figure size is not needed. Maybe I can set the marker as let's say star. Alright, and the size of the markers would be maybe 35. So guys, if you observe, this is the kind of relation between the sales and profit. So we don't get to see any special kind of correlation that maybe if the sales is increasing, the profit is also increasing, or if the sales is decreasing, the profit is also decreasing. We don't get to see such a trend over here because this is synthetic data entirely. Alright, so this is how we can represent maybe let's say sales and profit on the scatter chart. We want some custom data, so maybe I can mention what have we represented. Over here we have represent maybe sales and profit. Alright, on a scatter chart, let's assume for the region Delhi, I only want to represent it for the Delhi. So how would I write it? Over here I can simply write df, where df region, what is the region that I'm setting? I'm setting the region as Delhi. Now wherever I've written let's say df, I can replace it with a4. I'm replacing it with a4. So this is for Delhi. Alright, so maybe I can store this in a separate cell. Alright, and then how many records do we have? For Delhi, we have seen that we do have 26 records, right? So even if we check the shape for Delhi, this is a4 dot shape. How much we are getting? 24. Let's run this. So guys, this is for Delhi. If I were to change this to Mumbai, so now this would be for Mumbai. Alright, maybe for any other city, let's say Kolkata. Highest records is present for Kolkata, right? Let's see, this is for Kolkata now. Let's increase the size from 35 to 50. So guys, this is the sales versus profit relation for Kolkata. So guys, this is how we can define. This is how we can represent different charts, right? So we have discussed bar chart, line chart, pie chart, and even scatter chart. So guys, that brings us to the end of this session. Let's switch to the PPT. So guys, in this session, we have discussed how to create graphs using Matplotlib, and we have also understood, let's say, what is the impact of the visual data analysis using Matplotlib. So guys, in the next session, we'll be understanding a couple of charts using Seaborn. Thank you.